One of nature's wonder workers, the honeybee, gathering the ingredients for what we call honey, the most perfect natural sweet. Lucky for us, bees make more honey than they need for themselves. To assist them to make more honey and to help us to collect it, we build special houses for them called hives. The smoke quiets the bees and allows handling of hives without stings. The upper chamber of the hive holds the comb where the bees store the honey. The comb, made of wax by the bees, is composed of little six-sided cells. The comb in the lower chamber is where the bees live, lay their eggs, and raise their young. The hive gets crowded, often 50,000 to 80,000 bees at honey-making time. There are three kinds of bees. First, the worker bee. Always female, she never stops working all her short life of 3 or 4 months. She collects the nectar and pollen for food, feeds the young and cleans the cells, builds the combs, waits on the queen, guards the hive, and acts as an air conditioner. Next, the drones, always male. They're bigger, but they don't work. Only one mates with the queen. The others just hang around and eat. They're not equipped to do anything else. They can't gather nectar and pollen, and having no stinger, they're defenseless. And finally, the queen bee. We'll identify her. Nothing is so important to the hive and all its bees as the queen. Without her, the hive would die out. She lays as many as 2,000 eggs a day, 500,000 in her lifetime of about 2 or 3 years. The queen is born in a cell larger than the others. As an unborn larvae, she is fed royal jelly, a very nutritious food made by young worker bees. In fact, she is never fed anything else throughout the larval stage. Often several queen larvae are raised together. The firstborn queen then kills the others, for a queen tolerates no rivals. The queen lays one egg in each cell, and in about 21 days, a bee is born. A little wobbly at first, but ready to work in an hour or two. At first, older bees feed the young, but they soon learn to feed themselves. As a worker, one of her first jobs is nursemaid to unborn baby bees. She makes and feeds them royal jelly. But after several days, the unborn bees are fed a mixture of pollen and honey called bee bread. She joins the others, air cooling the hive, fanning the air with their wings. She might even try to help the guard bees. The bee policewomen protect the hive. An invader, a moth larvae, natural enemy of the bee. But it's soon gone. In a few days, however, she's out with the older bees gathering nectar and pollen. She eats some of the pollen, mixing it with nectar in her mouth. Some she packs into pollen baskets on her hind legs and flies back to the hive. Bees can fly with a load of nectar and water weighing more than they do themselves. Sometimes a bee deposits the honey in a cell herself. And sometimes she transfers the honey to house bees, who will take care of it while she goes after more. Did you know that bees collect water? They spread it around inside the hive and fan it with their wings. This evaporates the water and cools the hive. Who said we invented air conditioning? A model of a worker bee shows that its body is formed into three major parts. Large eyes help her see a much wider area than we do. Between them are three small eyes. Long feelers do many things for the bee, as well as act as a nose. The jaws that move sideways are very strong, but bees cannot chew food. They can only drink liquids. A long tongue leads to a tube which sucks nectar from a flower. The midsection, or thorax, carries the wings, two on each side, along with three pairs of hairy legs. Behind the midsection is the abdomen, and on the underside, the wax glands. The honey sac is like a second stomach. At the rear tip of her body is the stinger. The stinger is two tiny, very sharp spears with hooks on the ends. She forces them into the skin with the downward pressure of her body. Poison runs into the wound. When she uses her stinger, the hooks get caught in the skin, and she often has to leave them there to escape. When this happens, she dies. A bee sting can be dangerous. Don't strike at it. It may think you are attacking and sting you. If a bee lights on you, don't brush it off. You may get stung. It will soon fly away. The location of a new-found garden of flowers is told to the hive by a returning worker by a special dance she performs. She goes into a fast waggle dance. By the sound she makes and the speed of her shaking, other bees can tell how far away the flowers are. The way she is facing points the direction. The odor of her body tells what kind of pollen she has found. Dancing in a circle means the flowers are very close. As the bees fly from plant to plant, some of the pollen from one flower is passed on to another. This exchange of pollen fertilizes the flowers and is called pollinization. It has been said that hundreds of thousands of plants would disappear without pollination by bees. When the hive gets too crowded, part of the bee population of a hive, along with a newly hatched queen, stock up on honey and swarm out. They hang together for a day or two while scout bees go house hunting. When the new home is found, they swarm there together and start a new hive all over again. Man has always watched with wonder how well bees work together and how well they do their jobs. No man can match the perfection with which they build their combs and its cells. Their selfless care for their queen and for each other is something man has yet to learn. Throughout the ages, the bee has benefited man, a wonder worker and a giver of good things for all, the honeybee.